into this role because I created a company and started from scratch as myself, just as a marketing coordinator, and it grew into a national agency with 20 to 30 full-time staff. One of the clients that comes to mind is Bexley Dental. So Bexley Dental is a dentist operating in Sydney. They came to us because their website was very outdated. They wanted to do a bit of a brand refresh, but it wasn't a simple brand refresh because he's very, very well established. So although he wanted to have a modern look and feel, he didn't want to look unrecognisable. He didn't want to have to redo all of his signage. So it was a tricky one to work on. The objectives was to rebrand the logo, rebrand the colour palette, redo the website, and then revise all the marketing campaigns. Okay, so we started off by working out what were the non-negotiables with what creative elements we could and couldn't change. So for example, the client's main colour is a maroon. We couldn't change that colour because it was too recognisable as his branding, but we looked at, he has a bit of a gold or an orange that sometimes popped in through the website, and we looked at, can we elevate that to a really nice striking gold colour? And then as a soft supporting colour, can we put like a really, really pale silver grey to sort of elevate the brand and make it a bit more modern? Then one of the elements that we had to look at was what's inspirational. So we had to go around and find a whole heap of different types of really modern looking dentist sites that offer similar services to himself. And then we put together a mood board of different logos, different branding, different colour palettes. And then we sat down and did a debrief with the marketing directors of the company and the owner of the business, and sort of narrowed it down from a big mood board down to, okay, this is what we're looking at. From there, we were able to get our graphic designers to create the initial concept. Yep, so it's really, really important to be collaborative with anything to do with branding and creativity. One of the main reasons for that is because everyone has their own sense of what they like and what they don't like. So I could have a team of my graphic designers create something that we think is amazing, but it might be completely different to what the customer has in mind, and what his marketing people have in mind. So being that branding can be quite a personal choice, you need to be collaborative to make sure that we're getting the brand consistency, the brand messaging, as well as everybody, especially the owners of the business, liking it because they need to be proud of their brand. So being collaborative is very, very important. The people that we collaborate with is, of course, the owner of the business, their marketing people, our graphic designers, our project managers, and all of us together have to be collaborative for a project to be successful. So creative brief is really important to make sure that we all stay on task and we reach the end goal. The first part of any creative brief is to really identify what the key objectives are, and then you work backwards from the key objectives. Most of the time it's really important to understand your target market. And the reason you need to know who your target market is because you need to understand what their challenges are, what appeals to them, what channels are they on, like how are we going to market to them, what are we going to say in our marketing, how is our marketing going to make them feel, and is it going to reach our outcome, whether that be customer loyalty, whether it be increased sales, whether it be referrals, depending on what those key objectives are. So we've got your key objectives, target market, we look at marketing channels, communication styles, and then you put your plan together. Once you've identified all of those different elements, you put your plan together. Yep, so generally when you're running creative projects, you'll have a project management system. Within the project management system, you would work out the different steps that need to be taken to achieve your goals. Most of those steps would have a key person assigned to them. It may be something that a person has to do independently to go off and do some market research and then bring it back to the table, and we might have a collaborative meeting where we address what everybody's come up with. So it could be a case of you've got 3 different graphic designers and you've asked each of them to go and do some research and come back with some colour palette ideas. When it comes time to being prepared to send that to the client, we collaborate together as a group of whoever's on the project. So it might be your project manager, your website developer, your graphic designer, and a marketing manager, and everyone would sort of have a look and give their feedback. But again, a key element with a creative project is to be collaborative with the client, because as a group of us could all have the same ideas, but then when you take it to a client, it might be completely separate. So you need to be very open-minded when you present something to the client about these are the ideas and why we have them, and then get their feedback. So when it comes to a brand or a creative project portraying the right kind of messaging, the right kind of feeling. Again, that's going to come down to target audience and what the client is after, who are they trying to achieve and target. So again, with this particular client, Bexley Dental, he's very well known in the industry, and he wants to be portrayed as very professional, very luxurious, which is why we added the gold tones to the burgundy, with the breakup of colours being white and very pale silver, just to give him that more professional look and feel. But in stark contrast to that, another project I've done recently is for a group of childcare centres in Melbourne, and the owner owns 6 different childcare centres, and she wants the polar opposite. She wants light, bright, colourful purples, greens, blues. So her target market is young mums with the kids, you know, so she wants to portray a completely different message to a dentist who wants you to trust him with a full mouth implant costing $60,000. So they've got very different, you know, he wants to portray himself as the expert in his field, whereas the childcare centres, the person behind the scenes is not a part of it. It's more about the centre itself and how safe it is for your children, how much fun they're going to have, how it's fun-led learning. So they're completely different target audiences and different feelings that are portrayed through different colours. Okay, so with Bexley Dental itself, we were very lucky that there weren't any challenges because the marketing people, the owners and our creative team were all aligned from the start, so we were very lucky. But with the other example I've mentioned, Hippity Hop, the childcare centres, that was very challenging because the owner of the business, she wanted to keep everything bright and bold and very colourful, so bright purples, bright blues. But her centre manager that manages all of her childcare centres is a very young girl, and she wants very modern. She wanted a muted colour palette like mint green instead of bright green, lilac instead of bright purple, and so they had a complete clash. And it was difficult because we had the practice manager telling us, oh, I want you to do this, 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 whereas we knew the owner didn't want to do that. So we had to sort of have that communication with the owner and say, listen, you know, your project manager's asking us to do this additional work, which you've told us you don't want to do. So perhaps we need to have another communication again about how we can align how we can make the website modern for your young practice manager, but still keep the bright colours that you want as part of your branding to make sure that everyone's happy with the project moving forward. Because when you've got one person wanting one thing and one person wanting another from the same company, it makes it really hard from our perspective to deliver. So it was a case of we had to sort of get them back in a room and go, okay guys, you want modern, you want bright and fun, let's see if we can come up with some concepts that will meet both. So we made some minor adjustments to the logo. We made sure it was very white and bright and light muted colours on the website, but kept the brightness throughout imagery, and we managed to get them both on board and keep them both happy. But that's where you'll generally find challenges with creative, is when people have different opinions. And we've had it many times. Many times we've had directors who will spend months working on a logo, we finally get the approval, and then 5 minutes later, after we've done all the logo pack and we've spent time doing it, one director changes his mind and then we're back to square one. So trying to keep creativity on track when you've got multiple decision makers is always challenging. But the best thing you can do in that situation is just bring them all back to a communication hub and go, okay guys, let's realign. We need to get some communication and agreements between everyone, otherwise you can never move forward.